Magnus Carlsen versus Artemiev. This is our game of the round.
And Magnus Carlsen is in the lead of this tournament for the moment.
And let's see how he will deal with the with the Grünfeld.
So Magnus Carlsen has 9 points, followed by 5 players: Vladislav Artemiev, Daniil Dubov, Hikaru Nakamura, Maxim Matlakov joined the group, and Vidit Santosh Gujarati.
Wow, Magnus goes for this H4 stuff. And it takes Artemiev out of his comfort zone. He goes for Queen A5 and castles. Castles. I mean, I was playing for 15 years the Grünfeld, and suddenly I remember that in the beginning of 90s this line was popular, and I'm not sure, was it CD, Queen A5 check when White had to play King F1? Exactly for this reason, to avoid the castles. I'm a little bit confused. Because now it makes...
Yes, you have the moves here, yes.
Yeah, I have my moves. And Artemiev is losing precious time. Bishop D7 played. Finally.
Yes, because you need to decide, should you play Rook D8, should you take on D4?
This type of position is very difficult to play if you don't have exact preparation, because you have so many options and every option has some drawback, and you are running a risk that White got this H4 move extra for free if you have to retreat like he did with Queen C7. So it seems like Magnus tricked Vladislav with this move order, and H5 is played. So the pressure is on at the board and also on the clock. Magnus somehow very tricky, yeah? Always feeling how to disbalance his opponent. All his opponents are out of their comfort zones right from the start. Very impressive.
He's a perfect player, in my opinion. Not only he is a perfect player on the board, but he's thinking about all of the aspects of the game, the psychological aspect, the physical preparation. And we saw him playing football yesterday night.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he keeps himself fit, and also one has to say that thanks to all these World Championship matches, his preparation has dramatically improved. Because I remember, like at the beginning of 2011-12, he was taking over the lead in the world ranking, but his play was very good. But clearly, what was lacking and missing from him, the opening knowledge. He was avoiding all the main lines. I mean, he was the one hiding, and now he's ready to confront anyone, anytime in any opening, which shows that also his team is working like crazy.
Yes, I know something about it. And Vladislav decided finally to take on D4 and to play Rook D8.
Yeah, and H6, Bishop H8. This pawn on H6 is lately called the Alpha Zero pawn, yeah, because we have witnessed so many Alpha Zeros games when the pawn marched to H6. For me, it's a little bit strange because, I mean, it was common sense always that this H pawn is very dangerous. Simply, Alpha Zero has proven this advance even in such circumstances when usually you saw that it's not possible. But I mean, for example, if you think about Ivan Sokolov, you will think that, okay, H4, H5, H6 will happen in any game. Anton Korobov was also always famous for quickly advancing his H-pawn. So it's fairly standard. One thing, what happened in these Grünfelds, that this H6, White starts to dominate the bishop on H8. And many times White started to play with E4, E5 and lock it completely down. It's looking very bad for Black, to be honest.
So he was forced to play Rook D8.
Yeah, Queen C1, Rook C8 happened, now Queen D2. Yeah, and the pawn on H6 is so strong. It doesn't allow the typical kind of sacrifices with knight takes D4, which would work without the pawn on H6.
And Vladislav
Maybe.
has less than 1 minute. With only 17 moves played on the board.
Yeah. No, he's clearly seriously under pressure. Bishop d3, b6 played. Rook bc1. Queen b7. I mean, probably he hopes to exchange as many rooks as possible, but bishop g5 doesn't give him any time to relax. And it's a very unpleasant question. Will you play e6? Will you play rook e8? Of course, you don't want to play e6, and he did not play e6.
So rook e8.
But like this, he had to give up the c file. And these are already way too many arguments for white. d5, bishop e5, bishop f4.
And queen b8.
Queen b8 played. Yeah, more than 1 minute advantage on the clock and a significant advantage over the board. The only relief what Artemiev can have now that finally his bishop from h8 is at least in the game and it might be exchanged. Of course, the king will remain vulnerable, but at least if he survives, he does not get mated, then he has chances to survive. So f4, of course.
And yes, f4, queen h5, rook c7, and bishop g4 was played. So.
And bishop b5.
And only 12 seconds on the clock for Vladislav. Yes, Magnus won a very important pawn on e7, so now he advances his d pawn.
Yeah, finally black got rid of this h6 pawn, but at the cost of another very important pawn, e7, and this d passer seemed to decide the game. And look at this knight on a5, it's completely dominated. Now e4, e5 is coming. Magnus is all over the place. Queen g3, like last try to confuse. Queen f2, queen c3. Yeah, Magnus prepares the file, maybe f5 but f5, queen c1 check, and king h2, queen h6 check. This opens up this diagonal. What after queen c1 check? First g f5, knight f5. Queen c1 check, there is bishop f1 returning. Yeah, down to 3 seconds. Artemiev. Bishop e8 or d7?
It's nice to have bishop f1 at this moment.
Exactly, and Artemiev resigns. Very smooth win by Magnus. I mean, getting an overwhelming advantage out of the opening, time advantage, a dream scenario, and he has won it very convincingly.